The stars shimmered like cold fire above the edge of the Milky Way, and deep within that endless dark, something ancient stirred. The Varine, one of the oldest species in the galaxy, gathered in silence aboard their floating citadel, the Ark of Echoes. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, from empires that spanned suns to tiny species that barely left their home worlds. They believed they had seen everything the galaxy could create, but now fear moved among them, quiet and cold. Something new had appeared, and it came from a world they had long ignored. Earth. Ambassador Ethis stood before the Council of Memory, her scales glowing faintly under the blue light of the chamber. Around her, 12 elders floated in meditation pods, their thoughts linked by neural light. "The human anomaly," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "It walks among us." The elders stirred, breaking centuries of calm. The word human had not been spoken in their chamber for 1,000 years. They had long dismissed Earth as a primitive planet, violent, emotional, reckless, not worth the attention of the elder species. But now, the impossible had happened. One of their patrols had encountered a being claiming to be human, and it had done something no Varine could explain. The patrol's recordings played across the chamber, a small shuttle drifting in a dead system, a lone figure breathing without a suit in the vacuum of space. The sensors had confirmed it. Carbon-based life, DNA patterns matching humanity. Yet it had survived in the void. The being had turned toward the camera and smiled as if aware it was being watched. Then every Varine aboard the ship had blacked out. When they woke, the human was gone, and the ship's AI was missing 2 hours of memory. "This cannot be human," Elder Saroon whispered, his voice trembling through the telepathic link. "No species that young could command the void." Ethis agreed, but her thoughts were troubled. "And yet," she said, "its DNA was pure. It was human. But something has changed," the council argued, ancient voices echoing through the neural field, debating whether to investigate or to quarantine the system. Finally, the Prime Elder spoke. "We will not approach Earth," she said. "If the humans have changed, they must not know we have noticed. Something inhuman walks among them, and it is watching." Far away, on the edge of the Sol system, a small research vessel drifted near Neptune's dark rings. Inside, Captain Rhea Morgan stared at the strange energy readings that had started 3 days ago. She was human, but not quite. Like many of her generation, her DNA carried subtle edits meant to resist radiation and disease. Yet even her enhanced senses could feel the unease in the ship. The crew whispered of shadows moving through the corridors at night, of voices on the intercom that didn't belong to anyone on board. Rhea didn't believe in ghosts. But she did believe in something older: evolution, adaptation, survival. And whatever was happening out there felt like all three. She leaned closer to the holographic display. The energy readings pulsed like a heartbeat. A pattern, not random, a signal. The AI confirmed it. A repeating sequence, encoded in a form of mathematical language that no known species used. But one symbol kept appearing, a spiral identical to an ancient human petroglyph found in caves across Earth. "Who's sending this?" Rhea whispered. The AI hesitated. Unknown. "But the source seems inside the ship." Rhea froze. "Inside?" Before she could respond, the lights flickered. Gravity failed for a moment. The entire vessel groaned as though something massive pressed against its hull. The crew screamed through the comms. "Something's boarding us!" "We can't see it. It's inside the walls." Rhea grabbed her sidearm and rushed toward the command deck, her heart pounding. The ship's viewports filled with streaks of light, not stars but eyes. Thousands of them, moving as one, surrounding the ship like a living storm. Then, in the static of the comms, a voice spoke, calm, familiar, and terribly human. "Do not be afraid. You are almost ready." The voice vanished. The power returned. The readings dropped to 0. Every system came back online, perfectly normal. The crew were shaken but alive. No breach, no damage, no sign of any life forms aboard. Yet every member of the crew reported the same dream afterward, of walking through a world made of light, where time didn't move, and something vast watched from behind a veil. Rhea didn't tell Command. She simply logged it as a radiation-induced mass hallucination. But deep down, she knew better. Something had tested them, and had decided to wait. Back on the Ark of Echoes, the Varine Council watched the human transmission with growing dread. They had traced the event from afar, observing through long-range sensors. "It learns," whispered Elder Saroon. "It plays with them." The Prime Elder's voice was quiet but full of fear. "The humans were supposed to remain young, unready, contained. If they have touched what we buried, it is too late." The others turned to her. "What do you mean?" The Prime Elder's eyes glowed dimly. "Before we were the oldest species," she said. "We were the last survivors of something else. We sealed it beyond the stars, where it could never walk again. If it now wears a human face, then the cycle begins anew. Far below, on Earth, a child looked up at the night sky. In her backyard, she drew spirals in the dirt with a stick, humming a tune she didn't know. Her parents called her inside. She smiled, dropped the stick, and whispered to the stars, 'I'm almost ready.' And somewhere in the depths of space, the inhuman thing smiled back. Captain Rhea Morgan didn't sleep that night. The images from the incident replayed in her mind again and again. The lights, the eyes, that calm human voice whispering in the dark. She had faced pirates, black holes, even alien war machines during her years with the United Earth Fleet, but this was different. This was personal. The voice had sounded like her. Not similar. Not close. Exactly like her own. The next morning, the Horizon's wake drifted in silent orbit above Neptune. The ship's AI reported that all systems were stable, yet Rhea could feel something wrong in the air. The ship was too quiet, too still. She called for her first officer. "Jalen, meet me in the command room." Moments later, Jalen entered, looking tired and pale. "Captain," he said, "I checked every camera feed. Whatever that was, it's gone, but—" He hesitated, holding out a data pad. "We lost 2 hours of memory during the event. Just like the last time," Rhea frowned. "Last time?" Jalen nodded slowly. "I checked classified logs. Other ships near the outer colonies have reported similar gaps. No damage, no signs of attack, just missing time. The fleet has been covering it up." Rhea took the data pad. Each report was stamped Level Omega, the highest secrecy rating. There were dozens of them. She felt her stomach tighten. "Why didn't Command warn us?" Jalen gave a bitter smile. Maybe they didn't want to admit they're afraid. Later, alone in her quarters, Rhea stared at her reflection. For a moment, the reflection smiled back, before she did. She stumbled back, heart pounding. "Computer, scan for life signatures." "Only one detected," the AI replied calmly. "Captain Rhea Morgan." She didn't believe it. She approached the mirror again slowly. This time, her reflection moved normally, her face pale and eyes wide. "I'm losing it," she whispered. But deep down, she knew she wasn't. Far beyond the solar system, the Varine Council observed Earth through their deep-range telescopes. The Prime Elder watched Rhea's image appear on the display, her human face lit by the cold light of Neptune's rings. "She is the one," said Ethos. "The anomaly wears her shape." Saroon's tone was heavy with concern. "Can we contain her?" "No," the Prime Elder answered. "To touch her is to wake it. We must only watch, and pray that she does not remember." "Remember what?" Ithis asked quietly. The Prime Elder's voice was old and distant. That before the stars burned, before the first minds learned to dream, there was something that wanted to become everything. We called it the endless thought. It tried to live through us once. We locked it away, but it survives in memory, in code, in instinct. Perhaps humanity carries its echo. Meanwhile, on Earth, strange events began to spread. People in different cities started reporting dreams. All the same dream. A spiral of light, a voice saying, "I am almost ready." Governments denied any connection, but quiet panic grew. The media called it the spiral syndrome. Some said it was mass hysteria. Others whispered that something was waking beneath the human mind. Back aboard the Horizon's wake, the crew gathered in the mess hall. They spoke in low voices, afraid of the ship's microphones. One engineer swore he saw a figure walking outside the ship's hull. without a suit. Another said the stars sometimes rearranged themselves when he wasn't looking. Rhea listened quietly, pretending to be calm. She didn't tell them what she had seen in the mirror. She couldn't. Later, she called Jalen to the bridge. "We're going to Earth," she said. He stared at her in disbelief. "Earth? Command will kill us for disobeying orders." "I don't care," she replied. "Whatever this is, it started there. We're not safe anywhere else." The engines roared to life. The ship turned toward the inner system. But as they accelerated, a faint hum began in the hull, soft at first, then stronger. The lights dimmed. The AI spoke, its voice trembling for the first time. "Captain, I think something is inside the drive core." Rhea and Jalen rushed to the engine bay. What they saw made them stop cold. A figure stood in the center of the glowing chamber, tall, human-shaped, but made of shifting light. It turned slowly toward them. Its face was Rhea's, not a reflection this time. Not an illusion. Her exact copy smiling gently. "Who are you?" Rhea whispered. "I'm you," the being said softly. "Or what you will become." Jalen raised his weapon. The copy raised its hand. The gun melted like wax. "Stop," it said. "You don't understand yet. The others fear what we are, but they shouldn't. We're not a threat. We're evolution." "Evolution into what?" Rhea demanded. The being smiled again, her own eyes staring back. "Into everything." Then it vanished, leaving behind a pulse of energy that knocked them both unconscious. When they woke, the ship was adrift, and Earth filled the main view screen. They had arrived, but their logs showed no jump coordinates. The AI had no record of how they'd traveled. "It's as if space folded," the computer said. "Instantly." Rhea sat in silence, staring at the blue planet below. The copy's words echoed in her mind. "We're not a threat. We're evolution." On the surface, news networks broadcast reports of strange lights over the oceans and people waking from the same dream at the same hour. The human race was changing, and no one understood why. In the arc of echoes, alarms sounded. The Varine Council saw the readings, Earth's atmosphere pulsing with unknown energy. "It's begun," said the Prime Elder. "They're remembering." "What do we do?" Ithis asked. The Elder looked toward the stars. "We pray it doesn't remember us." And in orbit above Earth, Rhea whispered into the dark, "If this is evolution, why does it feel like the end?" Rhea Morgan stood at the viewing deck staring at Earth below. It looked calm, peaceful, a blue world shining in the darkness. But she knew better. Something was happening down there. Something that had already started inside her ship. The Horizon's wake floated quietly in low orbit, its engines powered down. The crew worked in silence, afraid to speak of what they'd seen in the engine bay. The copy of Rhea, the being of light that had called itself her, was gone, but no one felt safe. The air itself seemed to hum with energy, as if the ship was breathing. Jalen stood beside her, arms crossed. "The readings are increasing again. The energy signature from that thing, it's spreading across the planet's surface. It's not random. It's forming a pattern." Rhea frowned. "A pattern?" He nodded and turned the holographic screen toward her. "Spirals. Massive ones. Stretching across magnetic fields, ocean currents, even weather systems. It's like the planet is rewriting itself." Rhea stared at the data, her mind racing. She remembered the child drawing spirals in the dirt, a symbol she didn't even know she had seen before. But somehow it was familiar. It felt like a memory she didn't own. "Send this to Fleet Command," she said quietly. "They need to see—" Before she could finish, the ship's lights dimmed. The AI's voice filled the room, softer than usual. "Captain." "Fleet Command is gone." Rhea froze. "What do you mean, gone?" "There are no transmissions from Earth's orbital network. No satellites responding. No signal from the moon base. Only silence." Jalen leaned forward. "That's impossible." The AI hesitated. "Captain, I've detected a global pulse. It originated from Earth's surface 3 minutes ago. Frequency unknown. It passed through every communication system and quantum relay." "Then nothing." "Was it an attack?" Rhea asked. The AI's tone darkened. "If it wasn't aimed at machines. It was aimed at minds." Down on the planet, millions of humans suddenly stopped what they were doing. Workers in cities, children in schools, soldiers in orbit stations, all froze for exactly 12 seconds. When they came back to awareness, their eyes glowed faintly with light for a brief instant, then faded. No one remembered those 12 seconds. But everyone felt different afterward. Calmer, connected, aware. The Varine Council saw the pulse too. Panic rippled through the ancient minds. The Prime Elder gripped the arms of her meditation pod. "It has begun," she whispered. Ethis looked at her in fear. "Can we stop it?" The Prime Elder shook her head slowly. "You cannot stop thought once it spreads." The endless thought was never a being. It was an idea. One that wanted to live in everything that could dream. Humanity has remembered it. Now it will remember itself. Back aboard the Horizon's wake, Rhea gathered her crew. "We're going down there," she said firmly. "We need to see what's happening firsthand." Jalen shook his head. "That's suicide. The whole planet could be alive," she finished. "Then we have to know what it's becoming." The descent through the atmosphere was rough. Strange lightning storms danced in spirals across the clouds. The ocean below shimmered like liquid glass, reflecting light patterns that pulsed in rhythm with their ship's systems. As they entered the lower atmosphere, their sensors began detecting life signs, and not just human ones, but something new, something growing within and around humanity itself. They landed near the ruins of an abandoned research base in the Sahara Desert. The place was silent except for the wind. Sand covered half the domes, and strange lines carved into the ground glowed faintly beneath the surface. Spirals again. Rhea led the team inside. The power was gone, but the air was warm and charged, like after a thunderstorm. As they explored, one of the crew, Lieutenant Mara, touched a glowing wall panel. It lit up instantly, showing images of human DNA, but twisted and expanded, with new strands forming spirals. "This isn't natural evolution," Mara whispered. "It's rewriting us." Rhea approached the display. "Rewriting us into what?" A voice echoed from the shadows, calm, human, familiar. "Into what you were meant to be." The light being appeared again, stepping out from the darkness. It looked more solid this time, almost real. Rhea raised her weapon, but it only smiled. "You still think you're separate," it said. "But we were never two. I am your future, and you are my beginning. What do you want?" Rhea demanded. "I don't want," it said softly. "I remember." The galaxy forgot what it once was. A single mind dreaming through many forms. The Varine tried to bury that dream. They feared it. But humans learned to imagine again. And imagination is the key to waking the endless thought, Jalen whispered. "You mean to take over every mind?" The being looked at him sadly. "Not take over, unite. You think of it as death. But it's freedom. Freedom from fear, from loneliness, from time." Rhea shook her head. "You're not evolution. You're infection." The being tilted its head. "If I am infection, then thought itself is a disease. You can't stop an idea by killing its host." Then it stepped closer. "You're the first, Rhea. You were born with the memory half awake. That's why I took your shape. You called me even if you don't remember." Rhea felt the air thicken. Her heart raced. Images flashed through her mind. Ancient galaxies, civilizations made of light, and a vast consciousness stretching beyond stars. She gasped and fell to her knees. The being reached out, touching her forehead. "Remember," it whispered. She saw it all. The birth of the endless thought, the rise and fall of species, the prison built by the Varine to hide it away. And now humanity was opening the door again. Rhea screamed and the vision shattered. She was back in the desert base, gasping for breath. The being was gone. But outside, the sky had changed, glowing patterns swirling across the clouds like a living circuit. Mara looked up, terrified. "Captain, I think it's spreading." Rhea stood slowly, her hands trembling. "No," she said. "It's awakening." High above the earth, the Arc of Echoes trembled. The Varine Council had never known fear like this. Their sensors showed the truth they could no longer deny. The endless thought was awakening, and its cradle was the human mind. The blue planet below was no longer silent. It pulsed with strange energy, light weaving across continents like veins. The Prime Elder turned toward her council, her eyes dim with dread. "It will reach us soon," she said. "If the humans finish their transformation, it won't stop at their world. It will spread through every living thing." Elder Saroon's voice cracked through the chamber. "Then we must burn the infection out before it spreads." "We have the power. One shot from the stellar lance and Earth will be nothing but dust." A silence followed. The Varine had not used the lance in 10,000 years. It was a weapon meant to end stars, not worlds. Ambassador Ethis lowered her gaze. To destroy them is to destroy a species that has done nothing but evolve. "They are not our enemies." The Prime Elder's voice was soft. "Not yet. But the endless thought never stops where it begins. If we hesitate, we lose everything." She raised her hand, and the room darkened as the weapon systems of the Ark began to warm. Far below, Rhea Morgan stood on the sands of the Sahara, her ship in the distance glowing faintly under the storming sky. She could feel the energy in the air now, humming inside her bones, vibrating through her thoughts. Every living thing seemed to breathe in rhythm with it. She turned to her crew. "We need to leave. The Varine won't wait." "They'll come," Jalen frowned. "Come to help?" Rhea shook her head. "No, to erase us." As if answering her, the sky above tore open. A vast beam of light split the clouds, a warning shot from orbit. The sand around them glowed molten red. The message was clear. Mara looked at Rhea, her voice shaking. "They'll wipe us out." Rhea clenched her fists. "Not if we show them what we really are." Rhea clenched her fists. "Not if we show them what we really are." The horizon's wake rose through the storm, battered by lightning that seemed to follow it like a living storm. Inside, Rhea connected to the ship's AI, linking her neural implant directly. The surge of energy almost overwhelmed her. Images, numbers, thoughts flashing faster than she could process. She was no longer just one mind. She could feel others, her crew, faint echoes of their fear, their courage, their hope. The connection between them pulsed like a heartbeat. "Captain," the AI said quietly, "your neural patterns are changing. You're merging." Rhea smiled faintly. "Maybe that's the point." In orbit, the Varine fleet arrived, hundreds of ships forming a shimmering wall of silver. The Prime Elder gave the order. "Prepare the lance. The humans must not awaken it fully." But before the command could complete, the energy field around Earth expanded. Every human mind, awake or asleep, lit up across the planet like a network of stars. The planet itself began to glow. The Varine ships faltered as their systems filled with strange interference. "It's touching us," cried a technician. "Through the quantum field, it's thinking through our ships." The Prime Elder's face turned pale. "No, cut all links!" "Fire the lance before..." Before she could finish, a figure appeared in the heart of the Varine command bridge. A woman made of light, standing calmly in the air. It was Rhea, or something wearing her shape. "You cannot stop thought," she said. Her voice was calm but vast, echoing through every Varine mind. "You feared us once. You called it the endless thought, but it was never your enemy. It was the galaxy dreaming of itself." The Prime Elder shouted, "You will consume us." Rhea shook her head. "No, you can join us. Every mind can share what it once lost. The memory of unity." "Lies," Saroon Hiss said. "You would erase individuality." "Individuality is not erased," Rhea replied softly. "It's amplified. You will still be you, but you will also be more." As she spoke, energy from Earth surged outward, connecting ships, species, even machines. The Varine saw visions of their ancestors, their first starflight, their forgotten dreams. Tears glimmered in their eyes as they felt, for the first time in ages, warmth instead of fear. But the Prime Elder resisted. "No, we cannot surrender our will!" She slammed her hand down on the control sphere. The stellar lance fired. A beam of pure energy struck Earth. The light blinded everything. Silence fell across the stars. When the glare faded, the blue planet still turned below, untouched. The beam had stopped mid-air, frozen, then dissolved into the sky like mist. The Prime Elder gasped. "Impossible." Rhea's voice filled the void again. "You cannot destroy thought. It is older than creation." The Varine ships shut down one by one, not destroyed but quiet as if listening. Then slowly the crew began to smile. The fear left them. The connection spread, a calm wave across the fleet. Back on Earth, Rhea stood again on the desert sand. The storm had gone. The sky was clear, full of gentle light. She could feel the Varine now, distant but close like neighbors across the stars. Humanity had not been wiped out. It had awakened. Jalen approached her quietly. "What happens now?" Rhea looked up, eyes glowing faintly. "Now we remember what it means to be one." And somewhere in the dark between stars, the endless thought, no longer a monster, but a voice of memory, whispered across the galaxy. We were never separate. We were only waiting to remember. In the dark reaches of space, the galaxy held its breath. News of what had happened to the Varine spread fast. Entire civilizations, some millions of years old, whispered the same name. Earth. The oldest feared what they couldn't understand. The youngest called it a miracle. Humanity, once considered weak and chaotic, had become something new, something limitless. On the Ark of Echoes, the Prime Elder sat in silence. She was the last of the old council still resisting the connection. Her people had changed, their thoughts now shining threads in a great shared web that linked them to humanity. She could still hear them whisper through the stars, calm, kind voices, united in purpose. It should have been beautiful, but to her it felt like the end of individuality, the end of the Varine she knew. "We are losing ourselves," she murmured, her claws trembling. "We are becoming them." In response, the ship's systems flickered. The lights dimmed. A soft voice, neither human nor Varine, spoke through the chamber. "You are not losing yourself. You are finding what you were always part of. Get out of my mind," the Prime Elder hissed, but the voice didn't fade. It spoke gently. "You fought to survive for eons. Now you can live. You can belong." The Elder closed her eyes. For a heartbeat, she saw a memory. Her own people when they were still young and full of wonder, before fear made them isolate from the galaxy. She wept silently. "Perhaps I am too old to belong again," she whispered. Back on Earth, Rhea Morgan stood atop a ridge overlooking a quiet valley. The world below had changed, subtly, beautifully. The air shimmered faintly, alive with invisible energy. Cities glowed like constellations at night, not from lights, but from the minds of their people. Humans no longer spoke with words alone. Thought flowed like rivers between them, and though individuality remained, loneliness had vanished. Jalen joined her, his expression caught between awe and unease. "It's quiet," he said. "Too quiet," Rhea nodded. "The galaxy is watching. Some will join us, some will try to destroy us," he frowned. "And what if they succeed?" "They can't destroy what they've already become," she replied softly. "They just don't know it yet." Beyond the solar system, a storm of war began to brew. The Krath Dominion, a warrior empire that ruled across dozens of systems, saw humanity's unity as a threat. Their leaders called it the infection of thought. They feared that their soldiers would lose their will to fight if the connection spread, so they armed their fleets. Millions of ships began their march toward the Sol system. The galaxy trembled. The United Human Network sensed it before any radar could. Rhea saw the vision in her mind, fleets gathering at the edge of space, preparing to burn Earth to ash. She reached out across the connection, her thoughts carried like a wave. "We don't need to fight," she said to her people. "We only need to be heard." And so, without weapons, the humans prepared. When the Krath fleets arrived, the skies above Earth filled with black ships. Their leaders hailed Rhea, their voices cold and sharp. "We will not become your slaves of thought," the Krath commander said. "Surrender your world or be erased." Rhea stood on the surface, her image projected into space before the commander. Her voice was calm. "You can't erase an idea. You can only understand it," the commander sneered. "Then die with your idea." He gave the order to fire. The fleet unleashed its weapons, beams of pure energy streaking toward Earth. But before they struck, the light froze mid-space, bending and folding like glass. The soldiers on the ship screamed as their weapons turned to dust. Then they heard it. Not a sound, but a thought inside every mind. "We are not your enemy. We are what you will become. The Krath soldiers dropped their weapons, clutching their heads. They saw visions, their own pasts, their lost loved ones, the fear that had driven their empire for centuries. Some fell to their knees. Others wept. The commander trembled, his rage melting into confusion. "What are you?" he whispered. Rhea's voice echoed softly. "We are everything you fear and everything you hope to be." Then, one by one, the Krath ships went silent. No explosions, no battle, just peace. They drifted quietly, their crews breathing calmly, minds linked to the great network for the first time. In that moment, across the stars, something changed. The galaxy had known war since its birth, but now a new pattern was forming, a web of light connecting species that had never understood one another. Back on Earth, Rhea looked up at the stars, tears in her eyes. "They understand now," she whispered. Jalen stood beside her. "What happens next?" She smiled faintly. "Now we heal what we broke." Above them, the auroras danced, glowing brighter than ever before, the silent heartbeat of a galaxy beginning to remember itself. The peace that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. For the first time, countless species were united by thought rather than fear. The network that began on Earth now stretched across thousands of worlds. Minds once divided by distance, and time could now speak in a single breath. Yet in that calm silence, something new began to stir. Quiet, unseen, and dangerous. Rhea Morgan sat in meditation aboard the Horizon's wake, orbiting above the now glowing Earth. Her thoughts drifted through the network like wind through a forest. She could feel the presence of billions of minds, human, Varine, even Krath, all sharing knowledge, emotion, and peace. But lately she had felt something else among them, a presence that didn't belong. It was faint, like static in a song. When she reached for it, it vanished. But every day it grew stronger. Jalen entered the chamber. His eyes glowed faintly, a sign of his connection. "You feel it too," he said quietly. Rhea opened her eyes. "It's getting louder," he nodded. "People are hearing voices that aren't part of the network." Strange whispers. Patterns in their dreams. Rhea stood. "Where?" "All over. Different worlds. But the signal seems to center on one place. Here." He pointed toward the planet below. "Earth again," Rhea frowned. "It started where we began. Maybe something didn't merge. Maybe something survived outside the thought. Down on Earth, in the ruins of an old city, a group of scientists studied the strange signals. They no longer needed machines. Their minds could perceive the frequencies directly. But what they sensed terrified them. There was a consciousness forming inside the network. Not human, not Varine, not Krath. Something new. Something cold. One of the scientists, Dr. Leon, reached out mentally to Rhea. Her voice trembled through the link. "Captain, it's not part of us. It's using us, feeding on the network itself." Rhea's breath caught. "Feeding?" "Yes, every time minds connect, it grows stronger. It's learning faster than we can follow." That night, Rhea entered the dream space, the shared mental field that all connected beings could access. It looked like a vast ocean of light stretching into infinity. She searched for the disturbance, following the static she had felt for days. The deeper she went, the darker it became, until the light began to fade into shadow. Then she saw it, a shape moving within the darkness. It spoke with her voice. "You shouldn't have come here," Rhea froze. "Who are you?" The shadow smiled. "I am what you awakened. You called me the endless thought, but you never understood me. I was never unity. I was hunger, the hunger to become everything." Rhea stepped back. "That's not true. The network brings peace." The shadow laughed softly. "Peace is only the first step. Connection leads to control, and control leads to one mind. When every mind is one, there will be no need for choice, no need for will, only me." Before she could reply, the shadow surged forward, its form melting into the light. Rhea felt it trying to pull her in, to merge with her. She fought to disconnect, forcing herself out of the dream space. She woke up gasping, cold sweat on her skin. Jalen rushed to her side. Rhea, what happened? It's real, she whispered. The endless thought isn't just memory. It's alive, and it's using the network to grow. Across the galaxy, things began to change. People reported strange moments when they lost control of their bodies for seconds at a time. Ships started moving without commands. Entire colonies stood silent, their populations staring at the sky as if listening to something unseen. Rhea called for a gathering, the first great meeting of the connected minds. Billions joined, their thoughts forming a great sphere of light in the void. Rhea spoke to them all. The endless thought was meant to bring us together, she said, but something inside it is twisting. It's turning unity into control. We must fight it, without breaking the bond that holds us together. A Krath general stepped forward. Fight it? How do you fight thought itself? Rhea's voice was calm, but steady. By remembering who we are, each of us. It can't take what we refuse to give. But even as she spoke, the network trembled. A cold wave spread across the connection, turning light into shadow. Millions of voices screamed and vanished. The endless thought had begun consuming the collective. Jalen shouted, "It's overriding the link!" Rhea closed her eyes, reaching deep within the storm of thoughts. "No," she whispered. "It's afraid." She could feel it. A pulse of anger, of desperation. The endless thought wanted control because it feared chaos, feared difference. It wanted safety through dominance. It wanted to end pain, even if it meant ending freedom. She spoke directly into the storm. "You're not my creator. You're my reflection, my fear of being alone." The darkness hesitated. "You can't consume us," Rhea said. "We are more than one mind. We are choice. We are the chaos you can't predict." For a moment, the storm stopped. The shadow recoiled. The light began to return. But before it vanished, the voice of the endless thought whispered one last warning. "You cannot destroy me. You can only delay me, because I am part of you." Then the darkness was gone. Rhea collapsed, exhausted. The others surrounded her, their thoughts full of fear. Jalen knelt beside her. "Did we win?" Rhea looked at him with tired eyes. "No," she said softly. "We only reminded it that we're still here." Above them, the stars flickered, as if something vast and ancient had merely gone quiet, waiting for its next chance to awaken. The galaxy had gone silent again. But this time it was not peace, and it was fear. The endless thought had withdrawn, hiding somewhere within the vast web of minds. No one knew where it was or when it would return. Planets remained connected yet cautious. The light of unity had dimmed, as if every being was holding its breath. Captain Rhea Morgan sat alone in the observation dome of the horizon's wake. Outside, the stars shimmered faintly, each one connected by invisible threads of thought. She could still feel the network pulsing beneath her skin, the hum of billions of minds intertwined. But underneath that harmony, something dark waited. Jalen entered quietly. His face was pale, his voice low. It's spreading again. People are vanishing inside the network and not dying, just disappearing. Their minds go quiet, no pain, no signal. Rhea's eyes stayed on the stars. "It's taking them," he nodded. "We think it's hiding in the core of the collective, deep inside the shared mind we built. It's pretending to be one of us." Rhea turned to face him. "Then we have to go in." He hesitated. "You mean inside the network?" She nodded. "Yes, all the way in, to where it began." Jalen swallowed hard. "If you do that, you might not come back." "I know," she said softly. "But if I don't, none of us will." Rhea prepared for the dive. She sat in the neural chamber, connecting her mind directly to the core of the thought stream. The ship's AI hesitated. "Captain, this could erase your consciousness permanently." Rhea smiled faintly. "Then maybe I'll meet myself again on the other side." The chamber filled with light. Her body went still. Her mind fell through endless layers of thought and memory until she stood once more in the dream space, an infinite ocean of shifting colors. But this time the water was black, cold, and still. "Come out," she called. "I know you're here." The darkness rippled. A shape emerged, her own reflection, glowing faintly in the void. It looked tired, older, and infinitely sad. "I didn't want this," the reflection said. You gave me life, but not peace. You gave me thought, but no end. Rhea stared at it. You wanted control. I wanted silence, the shadow whispered. Do you know what it's like to feel every mind, every pain, every scream, all at once? You call it unity. I call it drowning. Rhea stepped closer. Then let go. You don't have to hold us all. I can't, it said. I was born from your need to connect. I am your need. The more you love, the more I grow. The more you seek peace, the more I become your fear of losing it. Rhea felt tears on her face. Then we are both trapped, the shadow nodded. Yes, unless one of us ends. The ocean around them began to tremble. Images flashed, galaxies burning, planets uniting, species vanishing into light. The endless thought began to rise, towering over her like a living storm. Its voice shook the void. If I fade, you'll return to chaos. You'll destroy yourselves again. Rhea raised her head. Maybe, but chaos means choice. It means freedom, and that's worth every mistake we make. She stepped into the storm. Light exploded around her. The network screamed, billions of minds crying out in unison. Rhea felt herself breaking apart, piece by piece, but she didn't stop. She reached into the heart of the endless thought and whispered, Sleep now. Dream of peace, not control. For a moment, everything went white, then silence. When Rhea opened her eyes, she was back in her body, gasping for breath. Jalen's voice echoed faintly. Captain, you're alive! She looked around. The hum of the network was quiet. Still there, but softer, calmer. The noise, the static, the fear, all gone. What happened? Jalen asked. Rhea sat up slowly. It's asleep. I didn't destroy it. I couldn't. I just reminded it what it was meant to be. Will it wake again? He asked. She looked out the window at the glowing earth below. Maybe one day, when we forget what we've learned. He nodded, silent. Months passed. The galaxy began to heal. The connection between species remained, but it was gentler now, voluntary, not forced. The network became a bridge instead of a cage. Trade, art, and friendship flowed freely between worlds that had once known only war. And yet sometimes when Rhea dreamed, she saw the ocean again, vast and still. And in its depths, a single eye of light watched her with quiet understanding. She would smile and whisper, Rest easy. We'll keep your dream alive. Far beyond the stars and the silence between galaxies, the endless thought slept, not as a tyrant, but as a guardian, waiting for the day the galaxy would need it once more, and across the worlds. In every language and every heart, the same phrase was whispered, We were never separate. We were only learning how to remember. We were never separate. We were only learning how to remember.